Okay, and welcome. It's a brand new year, 2023. Okay? Hope you guys had a happy holiday, happy Christmas, happy New Year's. Everything was great. We had so much snow. And look at this little clip here of how much snow we had. It was so much snow. Some of our family members couldn't even make it here. That's how much snow we had. Okay? But it was awesome. And then a week later, it all melted. So there you go. Okay, but anyway, 2023. You knew this was coming. You know what I just got? I got the DJI RC with the new DJI Mini 3 Standard combo kit, right? Okay, haven't had any time to fly it because of the weather. But what we do have is we have the RC controller, and we have a Samsung Galaxy 9 Plus. I've had this for years, okay? Now, if you had an N1 controller, you'd be using something like this or a tablet. So, all through the internet since this came out, people have been raving about it. It's the best thing since sliced bread for a controller. It's all you need. It's got 700 nits. It's all that 5.5-inch screen. It's amazing. Well, there's always an alternate point of view. And if anybody knows me and this channel, I'm all for the alternate point of view. And you get down to the bottom of it, okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take an alternate point of view on the DJI RC and see if it's really worth $150 more than using whatever you've got and the N1 controller. Is it any better? I can't, prove it apples to apples right here. I have used it in the past. I know the specs on it. I know the specs on this. Let's put this under the bench, have a top view, and go through it. Okay? Let's get to it. So here we are with the DJI RC controller, the all-in-one screen controller, and we do have the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. But we're going to talk about that later. The more I dig down, the more I find myself wondering, why did I bother buying the DJI RC controller? Is it worth $150 more than the N1 controller? What does it actually do better than the N1 controller with, let's say, a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus or an average 8 to 10-inch tablet? What does it do better? The big one is convenience. Super convenient. You cut the cord, you don't have to bring your phone with you. But that's about it. Okay, so let's get into some of the findings. Now, before you start out with this, you have to have an SD card. If you want to record any screen recordings or screenshots, you have to have an SD card. So, if you don't put the SD card in, a warning message will pop up, and I'll show you here, that tells you that you don't have an SD card in, and it's going to be using internal memory to store cache files. But you can't store screenshots or screen recordings. You have to have an SD card. Okay, so once you have your SD card in there, and you don't need a fast one, once you have your SD card in there and you've recorded some stuff and it's on the SD card, now you want to find it. Bar none, 100%, best way of doing that, take the SD card out. Yes, you can plug it into the PC, but randomly you will not be able to find those files that you're looking for. And then sometimes you can. But 100% of the time, take the SD card, put it into your PC direct. Okay. Now then, finding files on that SD card are so random. There's over 100 subdirectories and folders. And again, sometimes they show up and sometimes they don't, so you're best to plug it right into the PC. But the randomness of the subdirectories, and I'll show you the things, I'll show you the 4 directories here you're going to look into and what they're for. I'm not going to go through them, but I'll show you where they are. And the randomness of it, Android data, DJI Geo, cache, image, files, media cache, image cache. If you're looking for whatever, you've got to go through a labyrinth of folders to find this stuff. but I digress. Okay, so once you start this controller up, and we all know that if you swipe twice down, you get into the notification section, and we'll look at that. And you get into the notification section. Sometimes the SD card will show up, and if you make a recording and you go into the settings, it will be there, and you can play it and look at it and all that kind of stuff. But if when you have the SD card in and it does not show up in the notifications, what do? Well, you can still view your images, okay? You just have to dig around a little bit to find it. So here we are. So we swipe down twice, and there's nothing. The SD card is in there, but there's nothing in my notifications. So how do I find what's on my card? Here we go. You have to go to Settings, Storage, Internal Storage, Music and Audio. Don't ask me why. Audio. The 3 bars, Files at the bottom. There's my SD card. There it is. Okay? But it doesn't show up in the notifications. Okay? So, how do we get it to show up in the notifications? Well, basically you have to reformat the card. Okay, so here we go. We're going to reformat the card. We'll go back again, back again, back again, back again. Okay, go to this guy. We've ejected it, and we're going to mount it again. Okay, but we're going to tap it, and we're going to format it. Format the SD card. And sometimes this can take a couple of minutes. And as I said, sometimes it can take a few minutes. Okay, done. Now, if we swipe down twice, there it is. We set that there. Done. Swipe down. And you can explore. That's how you get it there. Quite the runaround. Okay? So basically you have to reformat the card and then find it and find it and find it. And it's... Anyway, excuse me. So the DJI RC does have a browser, but it's hidden. It does have a gallery app, but it's hidden. It does have a few other apps, but they're hidden. There's quite a few apps that are not natively accessible. Okay? That's an issue. What I'd really like to see is over here, I don't know why they have an airplane button. I don't know why they have a media data button. Doesn't make sense. But there's lots of room there. They could put a button there for My Files or Gallery. And it would be, boom, easy to get to. It's not really intuitive to get to things. Okay. So here we are. Now it's a 5.5-inch screen.
Diagonally.
Okay. If you measure it, it's 4.5 inches by 2 7/8 inches. Okay. And it has a maximum of 700 nits. Well, 700 nits is an average nit for the average phone. Okay? And some people will debate that. No, it's not. It's only 350. It's only 425. Well, if you can tell the difference between 425 and 500 nits, you've got better eyes than I do, because I can't tell the difference. My Samsung, and this is where this comes in, my Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. Here we go. Okay, let's put it over there. Here we go. Has a 6.5-inch screen.
Diagonally.
And it's 6 by 3. So that's about 1 inch bigger than that. Okay? And this old phone has the ability to reach 1,130 nits in adaptive brightness mode. So I've got 1,000 nits here, I've got 700 here. It's an old phone. You be the judge, okay? Simply saying the DJI RC is like using any old phone without a cable. But there's no features, no options, no diversity. You can't add third-party apps. You can't do anything but run the DJI Fly app on a very restricted, customized Android 10 system. That's all you can do. Okay? No third-party apps, and you can only access about half of what's in here. Okay? And DJI won't tell me what's in here, and they won't tell me how much RAM it has, and they won't tell me anything about it. All they said was, it's a modified version of Android 10. Super modified. Okay, so for all those DJI fanboys out there that poo-pooed the FIMI TX10 controller, you might want to take a step back, because DJI's offering of the DJI RC is lacking in quite a few ways. Okay, I will admit, this controller, super light, super well built, really nice. It does cut the cord, but it's lacking. There's something's missing. Okay, it doesn't have an HDMI out. Okay, it doesn't have a lot of stuff. So, but we're going to get into that. Okay, it could have been so much better for the same price. Okay, because the TX10 controller is less money than this controller. Bigger, more robust, tons of options. You can modify it, you can do all kinds of things with it. And it will be set up to run a lot more of FIMI's production line. I will admit that the DJI Fly app on this does operate 4 or 5 drones. But I don't know if the average guy would want $4,000 or $5,000 DJI drones. There you go. Okay, again, it could be so much better. So, for instance, the SD card slot here, okay, it's a trap door for the SD card slot and the host. The host is a USB-C that you can plug in an external headphones or microphone, or you can use it as a power bank and power a phone or whatever you want. And the USB-C there, that's the charging cable that can also be used. You can plug in a flash drive with files on it and all that kind of stuff, but you know all that stuff. But this trap door is a pain in the butt. Okay, I wish it had been on top without a trap door. You don't need a trap door. No, you don't. It doesn't have a 3.5mm jack, which I know everybody's going to USB-C, but I still like the 3.5mm jack, because most of the headphones and stuff are still 3.5mm jacks. It doesn't have an HDMI out. It doesn't have a video, it doesn't have video out. It could have had a bigger screen. It's basically a phone screen. So you're saying you're cutting the cord? Well, basically this is an all-in-one screen with a cord to a controller. So there you go. Could have had tripod mounts. Could have had more nits. Could have been brighter. They could have put lanyard mounts instead of these. You know those little rod lines that are there? Then you can loop a lanyard on. That would have been so much better. Okay. It's basically an unusable Android system, and it could have been compatible with more crafts, things like that. It would have been phenomenal, because it's OcuSync 2, same as the Mini 2, but DJI is not going to backwards compatibility that, because I think they're going to discontinue the Mini 2 pretty soon. But nice to know, this is OcuSync 2, OcuSync 3, and probably will be OcuSync 3 Plus in the future. So that's about it. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, is it worth the $150 more? There's the screen on, bigger. If I had a tablet and the N1 controller, it's connected by a cable. Well, this screen's connected by a cable. What's the difference? Okay. It is lighter than the N1 controller and your tablet. Sure it is. But I leave it up to you. Is it $150 difference? Is it worth it? I'm beginning not to think so. Okay? You have so much more diversity, so many more options with the phone, but for the true DJI guy that wants, or gal, that wants something nice and light and portable, and the screen's not bad, it's not super bright, and the bright daylight, I'm sure it's not going to be super great, but it'll be okay. It won't be any worse than your phone. So there you go. That's about it. Okay, let's go back up to the other view, and we'll close this all out. I hope that was informative. Let's go. So there you have it. DJI RC controller, all in one screen, no cords. You don't have to worry about putting the screen into a controller and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's all about convenience with a ton of disadvantages. No third-party apps. No alternatives, because I have found out that the DJI Fly app is not the only app that controls the DJI products. Okay, you've got Litchi, which is probably the most famous one. If you're on iOS, you have Maven. You also have Rainbow that unlock a lot of features on these. Okay, but you can't use it with this controller. Okay, you are stuck with the DJI Fly app, and that's it. That's all you're ever going to be able to use on this. And to be truthful, let's compare it to the Mini 2. Okay, same controller, N1 controller, and say you had the DJI 3 or the DJI 3 standard, Mini 3 standard with the N1 controller. Mini 3 versus the Mini 2. What is the difference? Exact same DJI app, okay, DJI Fly, exact same options that are available, very limited, okay, very limited flight modes, okay. What is the difference? Itty bitty little bit better camera, dynamic range is better, sure, you know, what is it, 2.3 or 2.6 versus a 1.1 over 1.3, okay. And I've got other drones that have the exact same cameras, and yes, there is a bit of dynamic range difference, you can tell, but overall most people, and I'll say this sparingly as well, most people really, after a little while, they get tired of working with 4K video, unless you're into commercial business or something. But the recreational guy wants really good video, and I still find 1080p, and at max, if I want to crop in anything, I'll go 2.7K, whatever. But the Mini 2 does 4K. The Mini 3 does 4K. And they all do 2.7, and they all do 1080 at 60 and all this kind of stuff. So what's the real difference? A little bit of dynamic range. So did the Mini 3 substantially improve the performance over the Mini 2? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Now I have a Mavic Mini, which doesn't get 4K, but it's the same camera that's on the Mini 2. They just didn't unlock it. And that's what DJI does. They don't unlock features so you'll buy the next brand up. Okay, so Mini 2 versus Mini 3 standard, forget the obstacle avoidance stuff, because that's just a nightmare waiting to happen. It's like ABS braking. It's a fool's man's braking system. Okay, if it works, great. If it doesn't, you don't know what to do. So there you go. Okay, we'll see you in the next one. And I'm going to go out and fly with it in the next couple of days, and we'll see what the differences are. But I know it's going to fly great. I know it's going to hover great. I know it's going to take great pictures. I know the videos are going to be super. You can't complain about any of that, okay? And I know when I use this, it's going to be super convenient. It's going to be great. No problems at all. My only thing is, would it be a different flying experience using the N1 on a 10-inch tablet? Who knows? Well, I do know. Okay, I use the Mavic Mini on a 10-inch tablet, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So this being the 5-inch, we'll give it a shot, but I don't think it's worth $150. Not really, no. Unless you really have to have it, okay? But yeah, I know I'm going back and forth all the time, but yeah, I can't fault it for what it is. It does what it's supposed to do, and it does it very well, but it's so limiting, okay? We'll see you in the next one. Get out there, get some exercise, some fresh air, and I hear we're going to get some more snow this weekend, so stay tuned for that, okay? We'll see you in the next one. Bye now.